Winter meeting rumors are heating up. Are the Giants back in on a big name arm? Let's talk about it right now on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Giants. My name is Alan Stiles, and it is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, because of you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show at Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercats games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are talking about the winter rumors. Bryce Eldridge, how he is not off the table. We tried to tell you that a couple weeks ago. And last but not least, Jeff Kent in to the Hall of Fame and Barry Bonds out. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Okay, so this is going to be one of those episodes where I'm going to be refreshing probably the whole week, the whole time these winter meetings are going on, because the word is, I guess the rumor is that something is going to happen, and something is going to happen very soon. I don't know if that's specifically for the Giants or just in general, but it sounds like we are getting to a point where a move is going to be made. And we knew all this was going to happen. Number one, let's just, take a step back to say we made it. We made it to the winter meetings. This is what we've been teasing the whole time, where the Giants and other teams, of course, this is where the action starts, right? So we knew this was going to be the case, and this is where we're headed right now. Like we've continued to tell you throughout this whole kind of offseason so far, the Giants are just a bit all over the place as far as what they're into, what they're signaling, the smoke and mirrors, what they're actually trying to accomplish. Because now we have Jon Morosi, and he's saying that the Giants are active on multiple free agent starters. While it does not appear that a deal is close, they are in a good position to land one of the upper tier arms. He also said free agent Framber Valdez met with the San Francisco Giants officials at the GM meetings last month, in addition to the Mets and the Orioles. As I mentioned, he said that on MLB Network. So now we go back to Framber Valdez, who is, checks notes, the most expensive of all of the pitchers, the free agent pitchers and the starters, who we thought the Giants weren't going to go in that direction. So just to remind you, he's 32 years old, 7 years, $196 million. That's the projection. So he's 32. That would make him 39 by the time this thing is over. Does not feel like a Giant fit based on the numbers. Then when you actually read who he is and what he brings to the table, Valdez, this is from The Athletic, of course. Valdez is an old school sinker baller in a strikeout fueled era, keeping the ball on the ground and out of the seats as well as any starter in baseball. Of the 78 pitchers with at least 500 innings over the past 5 seasons, Valdez ranks #1 in ground ball rate and #3 in homer rate. And he's not exactly pitching to contact, with 875 strikeouts in 902 and a third innings during that time, thanks mostly to a standout curveball. Strikeouts and grounders are the ideal combo, which is how Valdez has posted a sub 3.7 ERA in 6 straight seasons. He faded in 2025, giving up 42 runs in 58 innings over the final 2 months, but Valdez was cruising along with a 2.62 ERA as of August 1st, and his raw stuff remains stellar enough for teams to believe it may have simply been a rough patch. And obviously things kind of went south for the Astros in general. His best fits, according to The Athletic, Baltimore, Boston, and Toronto. Now, this is, of course, before Toronto went out and got Dylan Cease and they got Cody Ponce. So there it is. right? We just sit here and we wait and we continue to find out that the Giants are just in on everybody. They're in on everybody. And I know a lot of people thought that the Giants wouldn't be in on him because of the situation. Number one, they said they weren't going to spend this kind of money. Number two, what happened with his catcher? We've talked about it time and time again. The cross up, which might not have been a cross up, which was a cross up. How did all of that kind of play out for the Giants? Seems like they at least wanted to meet with him, hear his side of the story, and go from there. We know the Giants are torn on this one because they love sinker ballers. They love sinker ballers, and they know that if they get a guy like this in the rotation, I mean, that would put them, I don't know, top 5 maybe rotations in the league. And obviously you still got to get another guy, but you got Landon Roop, you got Robbie Ray, you got Logan Webb, and then you add Framber Valdez. And then on top of that, if you want to go get Max Scherzer, and it's just a combination of Max Scherzer and the young dudes, Carson Wisenhunt, different guys like that. You know, I keep talking about Blade Tidwell, who we still have to see, McDonald. So that is a very, very studly pitching rotation if they want to go in that direction. And the Giants got the money, right? What, valued at almost $5 billion. I'm not trying to pocket watch. They're the ones that said that because of certain things that they got going on and selling 10% and how they want the valuation to look, they're the ones that said that they don't have it, even though they do have it. They just weren't comfortable spending it, and they did not want to. I mean, it was just Susan Slusser last week that said they felt more comfortable giving a big contract to a position player rather than, or I should say a hitter, because Kyle Schwarber doesn't really want to play a position, or just doesn't play a position. He can play a little bit of outfield, but they just felt more comfortable doing that than going in the direction of a hitter, or excuse me, of a pitcher. So that is a bit surprising, because think about it like this. Framber Valdez didn't meet with everyone, right? When you're announcing, or when somebody is reporting on a meeting, that's because it doesn't always happen. So I think it's kind of a big deal that the Giants even decided to meet with him. If somebody is out of your price range, like if you want to go buy a Ferrari, right? I mean, I guess you could test drive anything, but I'm not going to a Ferrari dealership if I know I don't have Ferrari money, or if I don't know I'm not willing to spend Ferrari money. So the fact that they're even at the Ferrari dealership means that they've thought about spending that type of money. Now, you might walk away, you might do some window shopping, or you might walk away with nothing, but there's at least a small piece of them, because once you get to the dealership, they can convince you of a lot of things. So I think the Giants, it feels like they're torn right now on the money that they want to spend, and how we initially thought this thing was going to go one big contract, whether that would be on a position player or on a pitcher. The one thing, or the one player that we have not heard anything, is Kyle Tucker. That's the only guy I feel fairly confident saying it doesn't seem like the Giants are in on him. Everyone else, there have been some conversations as well. There's another name that I want to bring up. Also, we have the Bryce Eldridge news from Shayna Rubin. So don't move. There's another name that we've talked about before that it is coming to the light more as far as the Giants' interest. So don't move. On the other side, we break that down. More Locked On Giants coming up. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guides heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this offseason, visit FanDuel.com and you can place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. I have to tell y'all about my favorite jeans. My doers. Seriously, they've changed my life. Right now, I'm wearing the Performance Denim Slim Straight, and I cannot get over how comfortable these jeans are. I've been reaching for my doers for everything, running errands, grabbing dinner with friends, even headed to the ballpark because they look great and feel even better. Here's the thing. Doer jeans have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim, so you can actually move in them. They're also antibacterial, which means they stay fresh longer, wear more, wash less. And they're made with Cool Max technology, which helps to wick moisture and regulate body temperature. temperature, so you stay cool and comfortable as the day changes. Honestly, they feel as stretchy as my favorite joggers, but look like I'm dressed to go out on the town. Duer is all about combining classic jeanswear style with athletic level comfort and performance. It's the best of both worlds. They actually pioneered the original performance denim, blending technical innovation with everyday clothing that looks sharp and feels incredible. Simply put, Duer makes the world's most comfortable pants without sacrificing style. Once you try them, they'll be your go-to pair. Trust me. And if you're in San Francisco, check out Duer's store at 567 Hayes Street. Pick up a pair for yourself or grab one as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code LOCKEDONSF in-store to get 15% off your first order, or shop online at shopduer.com/LockedOnSF for that same 15% off. That's shopduer.com/LockedOnSF. Your new favorite jeans are waiting. Okay, so the name that I was kind of teasing before we hit that little break was Harrison Bader. So that is a name that we have talked about a good bit on this show. Think he's a good fit. Think it makes sense for the Giants to go in that direction as kind of a stopgap guy while we wait for some of the other outfielders in the Giants system to make their way up to the big show. And this was confirmed by Susan Slusser. Susan Slusser writes that Bader also piques the Giants' interest as the team explores the outfield market. So why wouldn't he, right? He's somebody that can play right. He can play center. He can play all over the outfield. And, you know, I know some people are kind of questioning his offensive explosion this past season, and will he continue to be that? I don't think he necessarily has to be that, but if he can just be some of that or a version of it, the Giants would welcome that. He's a guy who, I've said it before, he just seems like the best case scenario for Drew Gilbert. So if you can bring him in, if you keep Drew Gilbert, can kind of learn under his tutelage, see how he plays the game. That's something that could help the Giants there. And he still has a lot left in the tank. I like him. I think he balled out for the Phillies, and I think a lot of people think it may have just been a hot stretch. So you can bring him in, find out. I think, again, you're not committing long-term to a Kyle Tucker or, you know, guys like that, the Cody Bellinger types of players. You didn't want to do that. So this is really all you can do. I saw a projection a couple days ago, and it had Encarnacion in right field, which is just kind of random. And the bottom line is nobody really knows. It's kind of a hole. And are you willing to go into the season with a hole like that, or just give the runway to, you can still, bring back Luis Matos. He just has no more options. So he's got to stay with the big league squad. So those are kind of the options there. But yeah, Harrison Bader, Susan Slusser is confirming that there is a level of interest there, which a lot of us had heard and a lot of us kind of just assumed, because he fits what the Giants, it seems like they're trying to pay. And if it's what they're trying to do defensively, he can make the outfield defense better. And that's what the Giants have continued to say they need to do. So yeah, that was kind of the note on that one. Also wanted to give you this, as we mentioned on this show as well. Bryce Eldridge isn't off the table. Now, this is from Shayna Rubin. So two pieces from the SF Chronicle, one with Susan Slusser, the other from Shayna Rubin. Here is the quote: "The hope is that the winter meetings provide clarity, allowing baseball folks to get face-to-face and explore possibilities. The Giants swung one of the biggest trades of the year midseason when they swapped pitchers Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks and outfield prospect James Tibbs III to the Red Sox for Devers. The swap took several arduous weeks, with the terms in constant flux until the final decision was made. Either way, the Giants showed they aren't afraid to get into a high-stakes negotiation, and their most valuable asset in Eldridge isn't off the table, per industry sources." So there you have it. We knew, right? And the whole thing was, everyone's got a price. It's just a matter of what that price is for Bryce Eldridge. And that's what we don't know, okay? It could be a situation where, yeah, everybody's available, but it's Tarek Skubal. And if we don't get Tarek Skubal, then we're not moving him in a Hunter Green deal. We're not moving him in a deal, a Freddie Peralta deal, or a deal like that. So we know that everybody is available. We don't know what that line is for the Giants and where they see Bryce Eldridge's value. But this whole thing flipped, in my opinion, when they brought in Devers. And it's all said kind of in the same breath. As far as the Devers move, and I don't know that I've ever fully given my take on it, I thought the Giants, at first I didn't love it because I don't like huge, maybe that's why they're my favorite team, because I don't like big contracts either. The Giants, they don't like too many big contracts, but they like some. So I didn't like it. I didn't love it at first because it just seemed like a huge commitment. And at that time, I didn't even realize he was going to be the first baseman. So to have Matt Chapman and then have to move Rafi Devers to first base, that's a huge commitment, but he is one of the best hitters in the game. And the Giants, I mean, time and time again, have missed out on these big hitters. So maybe they just felt, I guess the reason I came to terms with it was because the Giants simply felt like they didn't have a choice, right? They literally had to trade for it because we've seen other guys pick other places time and time again. And the Giants just didn't want that to be the case and to happen once again. And just said, hey, let's just bring in someone and he's ours. We got to pay him, but we got our lefty bat that can give us splash hits, that can go oppo and just add to the beef because, I thought Willy Adames ended the season quite hot, but you just need more in the West. You need more. And I get it. It's kind of an arms race, if you will. And the Giants are trying to be a part of that conversation. Now, I think they have to continue to do that as I continue to refresh social media and see if anything is coming out. But that was kind of the first step. Now the question is, okay, well, if you are going to go in that direction, well, don't stop now, right? You have to continue to spend this money because now you have a hole in the rotation that you got to get figured out because you didn't get it done last season. You didn't get it done. So, and the pitching wasn't terrible, but it was very obvious that they just needed a little bit more in the bullpen and with the rotation. So that's how I saw it. And if the Giants want to use Eldridge, now using Eldridge for another position player in that type of trade, I know they've been getting the Diamondbacks have been getting a ton of calls on Ketel Marte. I don't see that happening just because it would be, number one, not only would the Diamondbacks not want to give Ketel Marte to somebody in the division, I don't think the Giants would want to give Bryce Eldridge to someone within the division and then have to watch that if he ends up flourishing. So, nowadays anything is possible, specifically with the Giants, and maybe deep down, nothing is possible. We don't know. But what we do know is that the Giants are at least on some level wanting it to be known that they will listen or they will offer up Bryce Eldridge in a deal. It's just a matter of what level. Would that make you upset or I upset if it was for a Hunter Green and not necessarily a Tarek Skubal? At what level is he available? That's what we're probably going to find out pretty soon here. One more segment with you. Jeff Kent in, Barry Bonds out, and the backlash, the fallout of Barry Bonds once again not getting in, and it wasn't particularly close. One more segment with you, and who knows, maybe some rumors will pop up or some news will break, so I'll have that for you. So you don't want to move. More Locked On Giants coming up. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Giants with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonsfgiants.supercast.com or check the link in the description for more details. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, download Game Time today. One more segment with you. And yes, we had to, of course, close the loop on everything regarding the Hall of Fame. So Jeff Kent did get in. He received enough votes. I think it was 12 that you needed. He received enough votes to get in. And Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds did not receive that. Actually, Barry didn't even get to 5. So that's not good, people. That's not good. This is from Yahoo Sports. Jeff Kent is headed to the National Baseball Hall of Fame, while Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were once again left out in the cold by voters. New rule means Barry and Roger Clemens can't reach Cooperstown until at least 2031. This year's committee had 8 players up for vote: Bonds, Clemens, Kent, Delgado, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy, Gary Sheffield, Fernando Valenzuela. Kent got 14 votes, and Delgado was next with 9. Mattingly and Murphy each got 6, while Bonds, Clemens, Sheffield, and Valenzuela all got fewer than 5 due to a 2025 rule change. Failing to get 5 or more votes in this cycle means Bonds, Clemens, Sheffield, and Valenzuela will be ineligible for the next contemporary era ballot in 2028. That means the earliest that Bonds and Clemens could make the Hall is 2031. Okay. Now, it is what it is. We can continue to discuss whether or not Barry deserves to be in. I think he does deserve to be in, but I'm not on the committee. And I think what's going to happen here, to be honest with you, is these rules are just going to keep changing until eventually, I don't know, Barry gets in. It might be a while from now where things are a little bit different, or the committee, he lucks out with a certain committee. But I don't think there's ever going to be a point where they truly say, even though the rules right now might say, hey, he's done if he doesn't get the 5 again. I think they're just going to keep tweaking the rules and keep giving him opportunities. That might be, I guess, the way that they justify it. Hey, if he hangs around long enough and enough people kind of swap out, and you get some people that kind of look at the steroid era differently, things change just as far as how it's viewed and things like that. I think they will always allow Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds to be up in some sort of ballot. Whether or not they get in, that still remains to be seen. But I don't know that they'll actually go through with, we cannot ever vote on these guys again. I just don't think that would be the case. It doesn't seem to be the case because it hasn't happened yet, and they are finding different ways to keep them involved. And at some point, you get the right panel in there, and Barry can get in. Barry Bonds can get in. So that's that's my take on it. Jeff Kent is the all-time home run leader among second basemen. I think some of that is because he got to play alongside Barry Bonds and was protected a little bit. Kent played in Major League Baseball for 17 seasons with the Toronto Blue Jays, New York Mets, the Cleveland Guardians, the San Francisco Giants, the Houston Astros, and Los Angeles Dodgers. He was a late bloomer, accruing all 5 of his All-Star nods, 4 Silver Sluggers, and 2000 NL MVP award in his 30s. He won that MVP while playing along Barry Bonds with the Giants, slashing .334, .424, .596 with 33 homers and 125 RBIs at the keystone position. By the time he retired, Kent was the all-time leader in homers among second basemen with 354 of his 377 career home runs at the position. He finished with the career slash line of 290, 356, and 500, a 55.4 WAR, going off the WAR-based job metrics used to measure Hall of Fame cases. Kent rates as the 22nd best second baseman ever. Okay, after retiring in 2008, Kent was up for his first Hall in 2014 and received 15%. As often happens, his vote share steadily climbed over his 10 years of eligibility, but it peaked at just 46.5% on his final ballot. This was his first go-around in the committee process, and it will be his last. Now, he did have this to say on NBC Sports Bay Area. I don't think I ever saw a better player. He's talking about Barry Bonds. I don't think I ever saw a better player play the game overall. We knocked heads a little bit. He motivated me in frustration and in love. I'm not a voter. I don't have an answer. I really don't have an opinion. That's what Jeff Kent had to say. Basically, he said, my name's Bennett. I'm not in it. Okay. All I know is I'm in. And if you're Jeff Kent, once you're in the club, it's a little bit different. I don't know, how much you would have spoke on it either way, but he's not a voter. He's not wrong, right? What does Jeff Kent saying really affect anything? I thought this was interesting, though. And this was from Buster Olney. And he says this: He says a great gesture of leadership would occur when current Hall of Famers who use PEDs, greenies, steroids, whatever, just came out and explained what they did and why. It would move the Hall to a place when it could finally acknowledge the reality of what happened in the industry for 20 plus years, rather than absurdly pretending that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were outliers. Well, the first thing somebody said was, why would anybody do that? Why would anybody who hasn't necessarily been caught, if you will, come out and say, hey, I did it and this is why I did it? I don't know if you can get kicked out the Hall of Fame. I don't know. But Buster Olney said in his mind, they know, because he responded to the person that said, why would anybody do that? And he said, because that would be them, and them of all people understand how absurd it is that Barry and Roger Clemens aren't in. But I don't know, Buster. If you're already in there, I don't know why somebody would put themselves out on the line and say, hey, by the way, I was never caught, but I actually did PEDs too. I don't know, but I did think it was at least interesting and a bit of a unique take from Buster Olney. So we'll see what happens. Maybe somebody will do it, but until 2031, Barry, we'll see what happens there, along with Roger Clemens as well. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Thank you for tuning in today. And we have even more coming up tomorrow, as we're getting really close here, and probably something's going to break right as I end this show, because that's typically how it happens. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Giants so you get all the latest episodes. Be sure to follow me on social media at @the_Styles Files, Styles with an I, and also the official Locked On Giants account. Did Locked On Giants make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.